The Premier League is just full of little races, from the title race to the race to avoid the drop, but today we're going to look at the sack race and see which managers could be for the chop this season and who will be the first to receive their P45. Let's look at 5 Premier League managers who could be the first to lose their jobs this season. First up, we've got Paul Clement. Carlo Ancelotti's best friend completed his first solo triumph in management last season by keeping Swansea City in the Premier League in what was his second crack at the management game, having been unsuccessful at Derby County previously. Clement brought the Swans back from the brink last season when their situation looked desperate after a shocking start of the season, first under Francesco Guidolin, who was the first Premier League manager to lose his job last season, and American not-so-sensation Bob Bradley. It was third time lucky for Swansea managers and they retained their Premier League status, but things may not be so fruitful this season, especially if they lose talisman Gylfi Sigurdsson, who is heavily linked with a mega money move to Everton. Swansea sacked 2 managers last season, so it's clear the owners have a ruthless streak in them, so Paul Clement could be at risk if his team get off to a bad start, which could be a real possibility without their Icelandic hero. In at number 2 we've got SLAVEN BILIC. Last season it looked all but certain that SLAVEN BILIC was going to lose his job, with results not going his way in the Olympic Stadium after a stellar first year in charge of the club. Injuries killed West Ham last year, in a season in which they lost their best player Dimitri Payet and the board failed to really back Bilic in the summer, which all led to a tough season for the Hammers, a lot of which wasn't the manager's fault. It's a different story this summer though, with West Ham signing some real big names who should make a huge difference, with Joe Hart, Pablo Zabaleta, Marco Arnautovic and Javier Hernandez all joining the club. Now if SLAVEN BILIC can't get these players firing, then questions will be asked by Sullivan and Gold, and Bilic could be primed for the chopping board and relieved of his duties. Our third potential managerial casualty is Mark Hughes. Things at Stoke seem to have gone very stale. After 3 consecutive 9th place finishes, which were remarkable considering Stoke weren't even a Premier League club in 2007, the Potters really dropped off last term, finishing 13th in an unforgettable season. They sold Marco Arnautovic to West Ham for big money, a team who they should probably be on a par with, not selling their best players to, and there haven't been too many new arrivals at the Bet365 Stadium either, which could make this one of Stoke's toughest seasons yet, especially with how strong the teams around them are getting due to the money being thrown around. If Stoke don't get off to a decent start, then something will need to be done to inject some life into a club that seems to be floating, so Mark Hughes' time in the dugout could be cut short. Has Hughes taken Stoke as far as he can go? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Number 4 is Rafa Benitez. He was Newcastle's saviour 1 year ago, and despite overseeing their relegation to the Championship, Benitez stayed with the Magpies during their year in the second tier and guided them back to the promised land at the first time of asking, bringing back a sense of togetherness at Newcastle that has been missing for a long time during Mike Ashley's ownership. Throughout the summer, something hasn't been right on Tyneside, with rumours about Rafa being unhappy with the club's transfer dealings, or lack of, which could result in him walking away from the club. Those rumours have just intensified as every day of the window passes, and Benitez has even publicly said he is unhappy, but remains defiant. The Spaniard is the best thing to happen in Newcastle in a long time, so the Toon Army will be praying their manager is back, or risk losing their best manager since Sir Bobby Robson. Benitez won't be sacked, but he may pull the trigger himself and walk out if Mike Ashley isn't true to his word. Then it'll be like World War III at St James's Park. And finally, our 5th manager at risk is Antonio Conte. Okay, this may seem far-fetched because the Italian orchestrated Chelsea's title-winning campaign last year with his 3-4-3 formation, but that's never stopped Roman Abramovich from sacking a manager in the past. Just ask Carlo Ancelotti or Jose Mourinho. If you can contact them, I doubt their phone numbers or Snapchat usernames are widely available. Like Benitez, Conte has expressed his discontent at Chelsea's transfer dealings, but did sign a new deal at Stamford Bridge. Last time Chelsea won the Premier League, their defence of the trophy was embarrassing, and it led to the special one being fired just months after winning his 3rd Premier League trophy at Chelsea. If their defence of the title this season is just as poor, and it shouldn't be with the signings of Rudiger, Bakayoko and Morata, then Conte will not be exempt from getting the sack, because the ruthless Russian has had no problems with sacking managers in the past, so much so it's part of the culture now at Stamford Bridge. So those are 5 managers who we think could be first to lose their job this season. Let us know who you think it'll be in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and check out our newest channel, HITC 7s.